Frustrated and you provoked it. I'm not reading that motherfucking book because a human wrote it. I have a fucking brain, you should know it. You gave it to me to think, to avoid every useless moment. It was a mission that I had to abort. Because humans be lying with such an inaccurate source. It's gonna be hard to put me back on the course. Next Jehovah's Witness to go on my book, that's where I'm slamming the door. A lot of folks believe it though, but I'm not surprised. Humans are fucking dumb, still thinking that Pac's alive. I ain't trying to take your legacy and torture down. I'm just saying, I ain't heard shit from the horse's mouth. Just sheep always telling stories of older guys who were notarized.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I'm not going to touch anything, okay? And I know I'm dressed all young and all this, you know. It was, we got the call get too late. But as you were saying, I'm just going to summarize for the new people who've come here. I am talking from an experience that I was once a prophet, and me being a prophet is my own conviction, okay? So I'm just trying to paint a picture of how, when, and why I became a prophet and why I'm an ex-prophetess, okay? Like I said, my name is Sabena Ruwizhi, born 777. I was born in Glenora with my parents. My father, Roderick, he's 75 years old with a figure of a 25-year-old. He originates from Malawi, yeah, and he was paralyzed at the age of 23 years old. Now he's 75. My mother, unfortunately, passed away in 2011 at the age of 62 with ovarian cancer, okay? So I was just explaining to people when I was young, I loved God so much. I went to a church called St. Patrick's in Glenora. You know, we were Sweet Jesus girls. You know, we used to go to Cheetah, and all the protocols which were set up for the young generation or the people in the community. Sometimes, like I explained in the first video, you would feel like Jesus is about to fall, okay? So I then came to England, and I was explaining to people that I fell pregnant when I was 15, and unfortunately I was aborted by the father, who was a doctor at Avenues Clinic. That's where my trip started, right? And at the age of 15, I think the guy was about 34, 35. He's now practicing in South Africa in the Free State, right? He's made himself a bigger person, right? So I then realized that that child was aborted, then that was a serious sin. So I started praying to God for forgiveness, and I couldn't get pregnant to my African marriage when I was 18. Because when I fell pregnant and got aborted, I went back to my parents, and my mother said, 2 women can't live at the house. So my mother kicked me out, right? I prayed for a husband as quickly as possible, and I found a decent man who was an instrument technician. Unfortunately, my marriage finished in less than a year because of the paranoia of not getting pregnant, which was caused when I was 15 from a reputable professional like a doctor, right? So I was forced again to be in a marriage where I couldn't fall pregnant. And then I came to England when I was 18 and a half. It was very tough, you know, coming to England, and you've got no papers, you've got no right to work, and you still need to feed your family. However, I managed to build my father his original house, and I bought him another one, right? So living here is almost like an illegal immigrant. It was very tough because when you heard the siren and this and that, it would give you heart palpitations, just a lot of feelings, you know, in you. But fast forwarding, I prayed to God to have a child, you know, and I fell pregnant in 2004. How did I fall pregnant? I was looking after an English woman. That's how the video ended on that one. I was looking after an English woman who I was told by my agency she was going to die within 7 days. I managed to look after the English woman, Miss Connie Dix. May God bless his soul. Yeah. So Connie Dix managed to live for 2 years. So, you know, I used to pick up Connie Dix, you know, the people who work as carers in England. You can understand if you don't have a hoist, yeah, you have to just, you can't lift up a client. Well, I had to lift up Connie Dix because she was rotting her back and everything. It was just too much for a human being to live like that. So I would carry her because I used to be an ex-bouncer, put her in the tub, put her in the shower, wash her, and take her around the streets. So one day I heard the voice of God. I was complaining to God basically that I'm just doing this work for nothing. What you going to give me? And I remember looking up to the ceiling and God asking me, what do you want? I said to God, I want a child. 3 months later, I was pregnant with Mandela, my first child. And a year later, I was pregnant with my second child, Indiana. Okay. So when I fell pregnant in 2004, I saw the eyes of God, to be quite honest. I saw the face of God because I had gone for different operations and there was nothing at fault except for a leftover ovary which was scarred. And I think it was scarred on that abortion, right? Okay. So when I gave birth to my children, I'm an illegal immigrant and I'm using a fake passport. That fake passport was not meant to go to the government to even look for a council house. It was just for working to feed family back home. Unfortunately, but fortunately, I fell pregnant with my son. So I started praising the Lord. Oh my God, you've given me a child. It was amazing having Mandela and having his little brother. Unfortunately, I've become a single mother because of my past. Okay? It doesn't matter because everybody should carry their cross. Now, I'm going to church. I'm respecting God. I'm using the fake passport to get benefits. But at the same time, I'm going to church and I'm confessing my sins. I did pray a lot in Cambridge. I went to 2 churches. I went one in the morning, one in the evening. I just used to feel this sense of guilt in me. This just sense of unfulfillment in me. You know, that's when I started seeking God. But that's just another part of a feeling, unfulfillment, you know, regret and this, but at the same time, respecting God that he had given me Mandela, but feeling guilty that I'm trying to pray God, but at the same time, I'm stealing. But at the same time, I need to feed the kids too. You see how tricky it is now? So my conscience kind of played around with me, or that was the God I hear, or that was the God I had. So in 2008, while looking after my kids, and a neighbor's child who had gone to prison because he was a fraudster, simply because he didn't have papers in this country, but he was a carpenter by profession. So as I was ill, I've got 2 little children to look after and another 11-year-old child, 2-year-old, 3-year-old Mandela. His young brother is 1.5 years old and they need me. But I'm ill because the dentist took off my tooth and left half of it and never referred me to the hospital. So what could I do? You know, it was just crazy. So I heard the voice of God. I'm not going to argue how I heard the voice of God because we'll spend the whole time here. Sabena, yes, God. Have you seen everything now? Yes, God. Do you repent? Yes. You are stealing? Yes, God. You need to clear yourself. Yes, God, but how? That was the God I was speaking to. And then, for some reason, within days as well, I'm watching in the news, South Africa. A lot of Zimbabweans were banned, but I heard most of them were other foreign nationals. So when I saw that and what I was hearing, it became very, very scary. What do I do, God? Okay, hold your children hostage. So I just want to correct a lot of people who say Sabena wanted to shoot her children like Musho newspapers. I didn't want to shoot my kids. And the kids are here. So let me open the door. I'll just play this.
Like you when you finally vocalize. Now I'm supposed to bow my head and close my eyes and somehow let the Holy Ghost arise. Sounds like a fucking poltergeist. Show yourself and the boom is done. Every rumor's gone. I no longer doubt the shit. You're the one. I'll admit that my sinful ways were stupid fun, and all my old habits can hop on top of a roof to plunge. I donate to a charity that could use the funds. Fuck the club instead of bitches. I'd hang with a group of nuns, and everyone I ran into would know what I came to do. I wouldn't take a step unless it was in the name of you. I hate the fact that I have to believe you haven't been chatting with me.
So now, I see this in the newspapers, you know, my brothers are running, my sisters are running, And that became I got so scared that, what do I do? How can I alert the world that this is happening? So I had to use the gadgets which were around. That's the telephone and the blankets. So I put blankets around the house. Just before I did that, this case had been going for 3 days in South Africa. I couldn't sleep. My body was paining me. You know, it was like there's this force which just wants to come out, you know. So heard the voice of God saying, Sabena, hold your children hostage, take the phone and call the authorities and tell them that if they don't set illegal immigrants free, then you're going to kill your children. So these were threats made to the police, not to the children. The children were very comfortable in the house. I'm just going to tell my kids to keep quiet a bit.
Like you did Adam and Eve, and I ain't seen no fucking talking snake unravel from trees with an apple to eat. That shit never happens to me. I don't know if you do it, don't exist. It's driving me crazy, send your condolences. This is me reaching to you, so don't forget if hell is truly a pit of fire and I get thrown in it, I'ma probably regret the fact that I ever wrote this shit. My gut feeling says it's all fake. I hate.
Okay. So I hold the phone and I dial. So God says, you've sinned. There's no family to help you. There's no one to look after you. Except for me, God. I said, you're right. So pick up the phone and tell them to free illegal immigrants, especially Zimbabweans in the South African, all of them really. But as they say, you must sweep your own house before you sweep somebody else's house. On that phone call, before you know it, the police were all over. Before you know it, the police were all over with dogs. All I could hear was woof, 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 woof. Guns everywhere. Everything I'm saying, it's not for you to do, but it's an experience of a prophetess or a prophet. Because some people want to know, how do you see a fake prophet from a real prophet? It's in the testimony. But like I said, I no longer practice it. Okay? So they came with guns everywhere. And then I took the phone and I said, back off. I was holding a banana. Okay? Because it's not in my blood to be violent to that level. But my children had been crossed. If it was for me, I would have survived, but there were children involved who were hungry, who were supposed to be just normal, just like any child. 3 days, the police were outside my house. I managed to put blankets around the house so that they don't see. They had helicopters were called. And I do apologize to the police in England for what I did. But it was just this kind of spirit which was pushing me. That's why we need to understand why they call themselves prophets. Or why we call ourselves prophets. So, 3 days I'm with police. I'm telling them, I'm speaking to the negotiator, that the voice of God is telling me that you should free all illegal immigrants in the whole world, right? Things happened, but I was kind of like in a transit, in a spirit. Because God had told me, hold your children for me. If you love me, Sabena, hold your children hostage for your people. I said, what? Couldn't believe that's what I was hearing in my head. And if you believe me, Sabena, you will have your children in 6 months. This was in May. And I promise you this, December, my children came. That was 6 months. So you must test the Spirit of God too. But the Bible comes back and tells you not to test the Spirit of God. So how are you going to know it's the Spirit of God? Because God wants to show you his own signs too. So you must ask. You must question everything. And you must get your own proof. if you are created in the image of God. When I went to prison, God said to me, tell everybody, including the police, when the armed siege was happening, that you're a prophet. They call it them prophetess. I don't know where they got that, but it doesn't matter. Prophetess, prophet, it's still the same God. Tell them in prison that you're a prophetess, but the guns, yeah, and the police cars, man. I thought, you know what? I'm using your spirit now, but it's time I hide you because you put me in so much trouble, God. But God said, I'll protect you from the bottom. So, went to prison 2008, 6 threats to kill to the police, not to my children. A few other counts of deceit and fraud to feed the kids, like I said. And, you know, to feed, to survive. So, I can't talk about prophetism now because the children are in foster care. And the psychiatrist, you could see, there was a way of saying, don't talk about God. Okay, I get the kids. I come out of prison. Thank you, God, because the judges felt sorry for me. And I thank you, the judges in England, that you felt sorry for my children and myself. So when I went to prison in 2008, I didn't accept that I was a prophet. But God was still telling me, tell people who you are. When I came out of prison, I restored my life. I went to different churches trying to tell them how I'm feeling. The way they ignored me with the message I was telling them made me realize that I am trying to infiltrate where I am not supposed to be. And that was not only, there was an American church in Cambridge. You could just see the style they're favoring, one child from another, one couple from another, and it wasn't in my spirit. So all I'm doing is spreading what God had told me to say to them. But I didn't know there was going to be such a challenge. This is why you see there's a lot of black, in the black community, we've got children suffering from mental problems, even through Jesus. You see what I'm saying? Because it's called being immature in the spirit and being mature in the spirit. So then I was immature in the spirit because I didn't have anyone to guide me. Even though I was in church where I thought they would protect me, they would guide me. No, they didn't. I think that's actually when I did the armed siege then. So this is why now we are questioning these prophets. So this is just a summary as well to just tell you who I am, where I'm coming from, where I'm going. The second time, I still didn't reply God, and I still didn't do what God told me to do, to tell people that I was a prophet and I will spread the word of love, unity, and freedom. So the psychiatrist, I just dropped it with the psychiatrist because I just wanted to win my kids. So I went back to prison again. That's in 2010. This time I nearly died. Because I was an illegal immigrant, I was going to get married to my ex, a Swedish guy. The wedding was cancelled by my ex because I was an illegal immigrant. His parents had come from Sweden for the wedding. I was beaten up to the point of death. I knew it was God beating me up. I was beaten up to the point of death by Alex and his parents, even though you hear that it's Sabena who did it. No, they were just basing that on the 2008 crime. All I can say, I nearly died. If there was a counter charge, Alex and his family would go down for attempted murder. And I'm here to tell you, I experienced death and I experienced God at the same time. Don't forget, when the armed siege happened, when I went to prison, for me to give up, to say that I don't have a gun, I just had a banana. That was death as well. Because they still came in I know they said I ran up the stairs, but I didn't run up the stairs. I stood still because I was in my spirit of God. And they released the taser gun and they shot me with the taser gun, which is 55,000 volts, just to punish me. I understand. I respect that. Even the police were laughing last time when they were saying, Sabena, you were tasered by 55,000 volts. That was really funny, honestly. It's really funny when you start talking about it, you know. But they had to shoot me just to teach me 1 or 2 lessons. So what I'm saying, immigrants, don't be too desperate to that level. Always go to somebody or me. Tell them how you're feeling, because these churches are no more providing that as well. So you see, I missed that death twice. The third time is when I had an accident 2 weeks ago. Maybe that's why I'm now talking like this. So the first time when I was shot, I missed death. It's only when I woke my eyes up, when I opened my eyes, within 2 seconds, I realized I'm being electrocuted than dying, because I thought that it just came from the same gun, because there were just like 10 people. I think they do a bottom row, middle row, and top row. And then, you know, and they're great things. They're coming for you. Please don't do this at home, because you will fucking die. Sorry to swear. Just don't do it. There's a better way, because that armed siege didn't really help me in that way, to which I could have done quietly. So it was really more like a waste of time, you know. So when I nearly got killed by Alex and his parents, obviously the courts believed them. I remember the police saying they cannot leave Swedish people in the road. And then they took the same people who nearly murdered me to go and sleep in my house. Bless you, Gemma. I hear you. It's really tasty a taste again, but I don't want to taste it anymore. Oh, yes. No, we repent. Okay. So, put back in prison again. God's voice is still saying, tell them, yeah, prophet. Ah, God, this is too much. I told you I can't be. These people are evil. I realized that there was some kind of cult in this church. It wasn't really like the God I would want to experience. There was no love in these churches. I went with my children. They saw me with my face on the side here, not even one help. Can we clean for you? No, they're just so much into themselves, like more like a Jezebel spirit and a narcissistic behavior. I said, God, I can't do this. So when I went to prison for the second time, that's when I accepted to God that I was a prophet. So I put a few prisoners. Some I still see them on TV who murdered their children. Some I still see them who bent some guy on a tree and put fuel on them and blew the person up. You know, it's really funny when I see them in this crime watching. That was my friend, Maria. In prison there, I started calling everybody sister and brother. The screws who are the police jail guards called me. Sabena, please don't call us sister and brother. I said, why shouldn't I call you sister and brother? No. We don't want you to call us sister and brother. That's when I realized the first one. They don't believe in God. Before I go there, I actually, when I did the armed siege, I was seduced by the judge who was doing my case. And he dated me. So you see why I come sometimes why I became a prophet, because I no longer believed in the people who are the professionals, the people who control the world or who save us in the world. The doctor, the judge, an English judge I dated before the armed siege. He didn't believe in God when I cooked and I prayed. And he looked at me like the devil himself. But today I can stand here and say, I think I learned something from you. So imagine a judge is the highest figure. And this judge used to work in Zimbabwe as an attorney general, white guy. So if this judge, with all the respect he has in the English community and the Zimbabwean community, if he doesn't believe in Jesus, or God? Today I kind of get the answer after I see the video of resurrection. This is a person who is a judge. The one who quotes you in the courts. He doesn't believe in all that. He's very educated than us, and God gave him that intelligence. That made me raise my eyebrows too. That's when I realized that these people they respect Jesus, but they don't care whether we like him or not. Okay? So that's when I accepted that I was a prophet, just to ease the spirit which was running in my body. Okay? And that's when God now gave me a new profession. And this profession was amazing. Today, I stand as a personal trainer. And I can see it's God because of my own signs which are personal to me. From a prophetess, because he said, okay, then I hear you. You don't want to do this prophetess thing. Now be a personal trainer. It's amazing when you start studying the body, the insides of the body. How God has connected everything. The body of God, this one, the hand, look at that. Sorry, I'm funny when I'm sorry, mangu. Say that. Am I cheapo? Oh yes, I like my dukes. I think it's the African in me, you know. So I started studying the body. Fascinating. Imagine, look what you can do. Move your hand. Look. Look. Can you see how powerful this body is? When you look at the bones, how it was connected. When you look at the tendons, when you look at the inside organs, how everything just works. You know, it's so fascinating. You know, so it was really like a consolation to me from God to say, you know what, well tried. Now, do the body. Study the body I created. It's God who created me in his image. So that's why I became a personal trainer from the prophet. Okay? But at the same time, even if I'm an ex-prophetess, it still gives me a lot of pain to see how people are taking advantage of God. It really gives me a lot of pain, a lot of anger of how people have taken advantage of God. So you've heard my story. I'm going to carry on again, not about me, but what I wrote here. To be quite honest, we're going to be here for a little while, okay? I've never really done a long live, but I'm going to push it, and I'll try and do it fast. So now, this is to the churches now. You have seen what your prophet has done. Okay? We have been watching you, your prophetism. Some walking on water. Some going with a bag of problems to Israel, of the congregation. To Israel. Give me your problems, put them in the bag, I'll go to Israel, and your blessings will be finished. Some even going to heaven with a cellular to take God's picture and sell it to the same congregation. You see now, so when we hear all these things, we start wondering and we start doubting. This is why now I am speaking the way I am speaking as an ex-prophetess. Okay? So I jot some points here which I would love some people of the church authorities to kind of pick up. I'm not here to say people don't go to church. It's up to you. But we are here to learn according to what is happening in the world. Okay? You post, we talk. Just like the Prophet Lukau. He posted, we are now talking. This is what you wanted, prophet, right? You are talking, you post, we are now talking. Alph Lukau. So I'm going to read what some people are saying. What they're saying is this, especially the Africans. We are talking mainly about African prophets and African Christianity. Some are saying, as soon as you get into their church, these churches of prophets, they ask you, they give you an envelope, and in that envelope, you have to write your name, whether you are married, and your profession. The reason why they do that is because they will be just spotting you in the church, and you'll be just seeing people calling, oh, Mr. Mafuta, oh, doctor, oh, doctor, and you think you're a big man. They start putting you on a top seat like you had the seats come with class. It starts with sofas, and it comes with semi-sofas, and then you get to chairs before you get to the plastic ones, and before you sit down. You go in the church, oh, I got my immigration, 2 years, thank you. What's that got to do with God? Oh, Dr. So-and-so, what's that got to do with God? The churches are meant for needy people too. And you must be able to spot them just like that. So you see, these prophets who are saying they're prophets, they are not prophets. Today I will speak bold and I will speak with the voice of God accompanying me. This is why I am speaking in English. They are evangelists. They are pastors. The difference between pastors, evangelists, and prophets is an evangelist is the one who goes in the streets and spread the word. Oh, come and see Jesus. Come and do this. Come and do that. A prophet is the one who comes and uproots the evil the house of God is doing, or the world of God is doing, and restores it with goodness, catering for everybody. That means basically kicking away the devil, right? So now you see how the churches are now making people doubt. Because that envelope, I never used to get it when I was a Roman Catholic in Zimbabwe. Used to just go and drop 10 cents, whatever, because the church was kind of run by the government. If you really look at it, we'll go into that. So, talking as a single mother, I also realized where I was abused by the church, because I went there for shelter. All they could do is you couldn't even utter a word that you're an illegal immigrant, but you are dying of hunger inside. How evil is that? So this is why, but the reason why I went in churches the way I went in churches, because God was using me to catch the thieves. Why God was using me is now your problem. You ask God yourself. He designed me the way I am, to come to your church, to come to your churches, to see how you operate. Right now, the way you operate is dololo, it's a cult. So this is why prophets are hated. So you see, the prophets who tell you that they are prophets, they are not, they are pastors. That's why you see them sitting next to a sports car. Are you still with me? We're going there. Sitting in a sports car because they're there to impress you. That's what the pastors do, to impress people. That's why they don't like people like my Mandela, because we can leave the church here with one person. It just comes with that territory. That's why I no longer practice it. Saka churches, prophets, please don't call yourselves prophets. Show us your testimonies. like I have just revealed my testimony. Google me and show me your testimony. Because I am also a daughter of God, and I will stand in solidarity with my God. Okay? We'll get to it. So you've heard churches, your love of money. So that doctor who has been called Dr. Mafuta. Dr. Mafuta is very amazing. Donates 500 rands a month to the church. And is in debt with 6,000 over the year. If he had put that money in the bank, he would be in credit of 6,000 over the year. And this is not saying that you should not contribute to the church, because the church needs to run too. The electricity, everything else, you understand. But there is a certain level of wanting. The rest is greed. Saka, you've heard churches, the way you do this envelope thing, where you want to distinguish people, is just not on. Because the Africans are opening their eyes and they are seeing everything you're doing. It doesn't mean if an African doesn't have money or is not educated, they're not an image of God. That's where you're getting it twisted. One caller said, you go for help in churches and you come out bitter. Trust me, you do come out bitter. You see, look at the services now, which we are being offered. They last up to 6 hours, 8 hours. Closed up in a church. Right now, if you look, a lot of Africans and a lot of Africans' children are suffering from a deficiency called vitamin D. That means you are not getting the sun. You see, I'm now getting light-skinned. I'll be coming to you next and I'll be telling you deficiency of vitamin D. Because I'm always here speaking. Instead of going outside in the sun and basking and connecting with God. That sun will help those same bonds you are going to a prophet to help you with. So we need to be careful again. Why are you making these services so long on a Sunday, yet somebody has worked Monday to Friday? Saturday they see their family, and on Sunday you want to take them for the whole day. And those who don't stay are sinners according to other Christians. We must stop that as well. Some people are saying that spiritual levels go down when you don't go to church. This is a very, very good point. Spiritual levels go down when you don't go to church. This actually comes with depression. Okay? I'm so sorry to say that if you feel like your spiritual levels are going down because you have not gone to church, and rightly so. The reason why you went to church is because you wanted to be helped. Otherwise, you wouldn't go to church or whichever, like they say, you know. We want people to be healed. What's the point of just being with the people who are healed? Okay, so some people are saying, if I go to church, I come out feeling worse. Okay, this can do the spiritual levels go down. This is I'm now talking as a personal trainer. This can be levels of depression. Okay, so you're suffering from depression basically. Okay, there's no other way of saying it. Now coming to the way God designed the body. The reason why when you go to a church or a congregation you feel good, because it's the natural drug which drops from your brain, chemicals called endorphins or dopamine, which can be found in some kind of weed and in some kind of drugs and some hospital drugs. And those antidepressants you are given are a substitute of that brain chemical imbalance which causes mental problems and depression. You see? So if you find your spiritual levels going down, then the quickest way to get your spiritual levels going up and stick there, it's by training, because training is a natural drug dropper. Okay? So if you find your spiritual levels are down, it's not necessarily the church. It's got to do with the brain chemicals in your head. That's why when you see people going to church chanting, laughing, they are dropping those dopamines in the head, which is like a drug, like adrenaline. And guess who created that drug? It's God. Okay? So that drug comes now from the food you eat, the vitamins and the nutrients you get and put in your body. It's like 6 hours in church and you haven't even drunk a drink and you haven't even eaten. You're basically malnutrition in yourself. Yeah, something like that. Okay. So they're saying that when you watch these churches of these prophets in TV, they cut off that part where you start putting money in. Okay? They just cut off that part where people start putting money for some reason. That's somebody who said that. So if you look at it as well, somebody also said that in one of the churches in South Africa, the minimum payment is 10 rands. That's the minimum payment in a church. How wrong is that when the Bible tells us that there is an old woman who came and was blessed by giving the last he had? This is why they didn't like me in my church, because sometimes I would put £1 just to wind them up. Okay? So you see now churches where you're going wrong. You're now missing the concept of religion. You see now? And once you miss that concept of religion, you are lost, because you want to feed yourself with your ego and collecting. You see, you look even in the Bible, when Jesus came, he kicked the things which they were selling in the churches. What is the difference with what you have turned the churches to be today? You have turned the churches you have today as flea markets. One was saying if somebody is doing tiling or selling bags, you just have to buy it. Because you can just see with the look of the person who is selling that if you don't buy it, you're no longer my friend. How come we came as personal trainers and you delivered Dololo? How do you fear God that way if you don't fear your body? So you see, changing a church into like a flea market, it's just not on. And we're not talking about European churches. We are sticking to our African prophets, that they should understand where they're getting it wrong. So I also heard that the women who sit in front of the church now, those are the ones who buy clothes from Turkey and China. So they're showing off with their Indian, Brazilian hair. Little do they know that a dead person had their hair pulled, yeah? And some of the hair, it was rotting there in India. That when the hair is pulled, it's got worms and maggots. And you wonder why now we are suffering from cancer. And you start looking for Prophet Lukau, yeah? If you want to give a prophet your problems, why? If you want to give your problems to somebody else, do you think he can be able to deal with your problems when you yourself can't deal with the damn problem? So you see where you're giving these prophecy over you. And let me tell you something. These prophets, they are using what is called the parasympathetic nerve. This parasympathetic nerve, yeah, is an automotive system in your body that's still designed from God. If you ever wondered at one point, you just feel like people are talking about you, and you look back, and for real they are. That's what the psychics use. And that kind of feeling is used by people who do tarot, see, and all that thing. And if you've got powers, it's not about powers. It's designed in you, in your body. God gave you that parasympathetic nerve to pick up on bad and good spirits, because we were born in two, but let's not mix things, okay? So that you can see, you can just feel it in you that this person is just a bad person. Have you ever seen, even with the banks, they've just said, trust your guts. Trust your guts. There's a secret when it comes to trusting your guts. How come they actually say it in the banks only, but they never tell you trust your guts with certain issues? So we should now be able to trust our guts with these issues which are confronting us. If you think, no, this woman is lying, then trust your guts. If you feel like, she must be telling the truth, trust your guts too. It's inbuilt in you. So that's what the prophets are using to smell your fear. So now you see what the churches they have been changed into. And some people have also asked for Zimbabweans, right? For Zimbabweans, that what is Baiberi in Shona? Okay, so that's a question for you Zimbabweans. What is Baiberi in Shona? And I heard the Prophet Mboro that you went to heaven and took a picture of God, yeah, with a Samsung and sold the damn pictures. How do you feel? It's time we defend the God. Simply because, you know, we don't talk, they think we don't care about God. And God himself is also upset because we are not fighting for him, even if he shows it bare that look. So it's time the governments get involved in this kind of fraud. Because, as I didn't tell you my other profession, if anyone doubts me, inbox me, I'll give you. I started the first level of funeral awareness, okay? I'm just left to work in a funeral parlor and then I get the rest of the experience. So I know how a body, how it travels before it turns into dust. So the guy who was lying there, he could have had blood flowing at the back there. Because the whole blood settles ukukauku. Anditika, Saka, he would have gone straight to the hospital to check whether the veins have busted, because those things start busting. See, so you are not really fooling us in that way. We Africans have grown up now. We are no longer our ancestors. So when you deal with us now, deal with us with caution. Even the Bible itself said your children's children shall prophesy. So, Prophet Mboro, it's time you repent. You are not a prophet. You are a pastor or an evangelist. Okay? Because everything you show is characteristics of a pastor and evangelist. The flamboyant lifestyle to please your following. Okay? And some of you, I also heard some of you prophets are giving the congregation like wristbands to say that will protect you. But you guys are moving in a motorcade like Saddam or some person. But you are telling these people to protect themselves with a wristband, yet you are moving with massive cars. And I heard these cars will not even have people, yet your congregation is walking with a footron coming to your church. Please, God is not happy with you, and I am happy to stand for God. We also heard this Prophet Mboro went to Lukai, to this Prophet Lukai, and there was a fight. You see, I'm here celebrating, and I am here loving it. Because I've been waiting for this for too long. Those who know me know I've been waiting for this for too long. But when I came to Old Bengembenge, I tried to speak about it and you stoned me. But now you can understand where I was trying to lead you when I just asked the question, is Jesus real? Okay? So I told God and I said, God, there is too much ignorance and arrogance. It's like you cannot speak sense into a blind mind. You see? So now God has decided to do it himself. Zimbabwe, you got your warnings when things started burning and some of your celebrities started doing poo-poo on lives. You ignored that again. When your prophet Magaya sold lipstick that it would deal with some particulars, I have told you how the brain works. I have told you how the brain chemicals work. They work from getting food, which is liquidified and turns into everything so good that God has designed in your body. God is so amazing. You don't really need anyone's help. And I believe every human being was supposed to be given a manual, like personal trainers, as to why and how your body works. Like a manual you'd give on a television. So you see, because you fear death so much, you now run to church with different diseases. This is why I have told you, if you can't carry your own problem, how do you expect somebody else to carry it for you? Only God can do it for you. And we're coming to God. I'm still here for a while. So what is a prophet? A prophet is a messenger of God. A prophet is a person who hears instructions from God and takes them to the authorities or owners of the church. I don't think there is provision for prophets. I nearly called them prostitutes. I'm so sorry. It's my mouth on the side. I don't think there's an organization for prophets where they are ordained. I do understand we've got what you call it, like an organization for healers in Zimbabwe. I don't know if we've got prophets like that, yeah? So, some people will ask, who is God? Okay? From my experience as an ex-prophetess, God is the energy that holds everything. And saying God is more like a limitation, maybe we should say the creator of the universe. Okay? So, God is just a man-made name like Sabena. But it's little of a name. Okay? And some people even say, if God created the whole world, how do you expect him to fit in that church? You see what I'm saying? So those are the things we need to open our mind to. You know, we need to ask God to open our minds and listen and go and speak to elders or people who share the same values with you. This is where I found it very disappointing, because as a prophet, I was very, very lost because no one would take me aboard. That's when I realized it was a cult designed to steal money from the audience, using that particular thing, because even the government can't touch on religion because they will be scared of getting stoned. Okay? So this is where you are now having false prophets, because they're saying, the government are scared of Jesus. What if these prophets know the truth, to which that's where we are coming from? Okay, so now when I went as a prophet now, and then I was speaking to other black people, mature people, and they were telling me how black people came to this country, European and everything else, and they were telling me how they were stolen, you know, from Africa and this and that, right? So it made me realize that this Christian was used. I'm going to speak bold and very quick so that we don't confuse each other, okay? So the Bible was created by a human. But how was it created? There is not a rumor. If you Google, you'll find it, right? A Bible was like a children's story. Like Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Okay? Don't forget our ancestors. They found... let me try and take this off. Our ancestors they found sugar and whiskey fascinating. You see, so you can imagine how they also found the Bible fascinating. So this is why when you took the country from the white man, you forgot to take the Jesus too. You see now, so that's where you are getting the problem there. Because you still have that kind of psychological control which was left for you. And that's why we need to rush to people like Vamugade, Vamnangagwa, not to shout at them, but to educate them, to say, listen, we've grown up. We're now thinking. Instead of just shouting at an older man like the lady who shouted at the president of Mnangagwa, poor, you have no respect. You have no respect because you have not dug deeper to understand what they are going through as a government. Okay, so this is a sensitive issue where we need to approach it with caution, but we can't approach it with caution when people like Alph Lukau are doing such behaviors. Because that God you are playing with is also my God. You are my brother, Alph. So I can tell you that Daddy is not happy with you. So you need to repent and take off all this prophet thing, or bring us your testimony so that we really know indeed he is from God. Now we are hearing you, Alfie, busy taking actors to come and show Africa. How sad are you? So you see now, Africa, this is what is now being revealed. What if these prophets know that Jesus is not Jesus? What if these prophets dug deeper like I did? As I went to the churches now, I told them about this and that. And I went to God and I said, God, this is what is happening, you know. And God said, God, Jesus is not your son. Jesus is the sun that lights up the world and the savior of humanity. That's the one we see up the sky. That's the one which dies in winter and rises in spring and lights up the world and saves humanity. So I said to God, God, Jesus is the Son of God, S-U-N. He said to me, I was waiting for you to tell me that. Now go and spread it to my people. So now imagine, if Jesus is fake, then the prophets know it, then they're playing our people. Okay? So Jesus is like a facade. They used astrology and put it on a human being. Okay? So if you study the characteristics of the sun and some of the three wise men, you realize it's astrology. When you study about the Virgin Mary or Virgo, that's a place in the sky. It's not here. That points where the sun is. So I can find out about that a bit. I don't want to go too much away. So how do you spot a prophet? Some are asking. You spot a prophet by their testimony. You spot a prophet by love. Some people, love is God and God is love. Some people think love is easy, but trust me, when a temptation is there, love is not easy. Okay? Love is not easy when a temptation is there. Okay? So, people have talked about speaking in tongues. Speaking in tongues is more like meditating or praying. It's more like meditating. You know, some countries actually dance and headbang their heads. This triggers the brain chemicals which I was telling you about. You are just giving yourself time for the brain to not think that you've got no gari, you've got no chicken, you need to pay a bill. It's a form of meditating. Okay, Saka, it's a good one because it drops the brain chemicals, the dopamines, and this and that. Okay. So, at the end of the day, when we talk about Prophet Alph Lukau, today I am standing by Prophet Alph because God has used him for us as Africans to open our eyes and to dig deeper, that instead of focusing on Alph, instead of focusing on Magaya, instead of focusing on Bushiri, let's focus on the root cause of this problem. The root cause of this problem is, say, Jesus. We as Africans, we must say, yes, we have seen enough. Our children have grown. They've educated themselves. Let them speak to us and let's sit down and find out what these children are saying. So Jesus is like Martin Luther King, because the real Son of God is up in the sky. Okay? So some people can say, I've had a spiritual attack. Yeah, I've had a dream. I was under spiritual attack. Well, if I say God is the energy that holds everything. Yeah, so if it's the energy that holds everything, the spiritual attack is an energy, and it's more like your conscience playing at you. That's why they say paradise is the state of your mind. That's why you must keep your conscience clear, because these spiritual attacks can come, and they are there, because I did not deny that God does not exist. I accept that God is the energy that holds everything. But Jesus is just like Martin Luther King, like Nelson Mandela, so we must carry on respecting him. The reason why we're saying that is that us, your African children, are now playing with these white people. And these white children, they love us too. So the people who put Jesus in Africa died. The people who sold black people to the white people died. We are the new generation, so we need to reshuffle things, putting us in consideration. Okay? And accepting what is true, what you agree with, using that parasympathetic nerve which helps you spot it, you feel it in yourself. If these prophets talked to God, surely God would have said, go to Zimbabwe, my children are suffering. Go to Somalia, my children are suffering. Because the Creator wants best for his children. But we hear these prophets, they don't do anything. Have you ever heard Prophet Magaya telling the government, whether it's good or bad, that what you're doing is bad? Has he ever sacrificed his life for you? Because definitely God is not happy with what's going on in the world. So has any of these prophets ever gone to the government and say, no, this is where we stop? God is saying this and that, this and that, this and that. Because they're scared they'll be told the truth. Okay? Let's talk about anointing oil and water. Yeah? So, to be quite honest, they say, oh, we're going to buy some oil from Prophet so-and-so for 500 rands. That's a lot of money. But let me put you into a very, very quick secret, yeah? So, this water, yeah, this is just some tonic water. So, this water now, you can speak to it. And it changes its characteristics. So, people from church, you can pray for your own water. I don't know about oil because it's got mixed things. Yeah, but if I scream at this glass, if this is water, and you take it on the microscope or whatever, it changes its its characteristics. If I say good things about this water to say, God bless Sabena, it's purified, you can drink it. That's the same rain. That's the same water you were told Jesus changed water into wine. No. He changed the rain into wine. The rain that rained on the grapes, and you took the grapes and fixed it into wine. You see what I'm saying now? The Bible is an imitation of nature. Okay? It's an imitation of nature. Saka, you too can pray for your own water and drink it. And if you think somebody is purer than you, it even becomes better. But you too can say good things to this water and it changes its characteristics. Or you can scream at this water and it also changes its characteristics. So it's just not a prophecy power to bless the water. You too can do it. So it's God's energy which created water as well. And as a personal trainer as well, I strongly believe everything is connected to anatomy, the anatomy of the body, and astrology. See now, it's really sad when you think of that. Let's see. So like what I'm saying, yeah, you get stoned from asking. As we are now young Africans, we are now young Indians, we are now young Middle Easterns, we are now young English people, yeah, English children, we are now young. But we are no more our ancestors. But we need now to appreciate that what did our ancestors do that is wrong, and just accept and move on. For as long as we are not moving on because we fear to touch certain subjects, because you fear your following, that's where we're getting wrong, and we'll be stuck in the same place. Okay? So look at it now. Is Jesus also responsible for the mental problems which black people are suffering from? Because I have had different types of children who have committed suicide because of the Bible, who have committed suicide because of Jesus. Some claiming to be Jesus and this and that. I've got a brother with something like that as well. So is Jesus responsible for these mental problems because they believe in an illusion? And then the illusion becomes, in reality, it becomes nothing at hand. You see, so is Jesus also responsible for the mental problems which we have in the African communities? Because I will tell you this, when I went now to the courts, they put me with a forensic psychiatrist. That's the one who really digs what type of problems you have, yeah? The first one said nothing. There's nothing there. The second one said schizophrenic. So if you speak to God, it's schizophrenic. You see now? So look at now your prophets now. This is why I resigned as an ex-prophetess. We are getting there. It's called schizophrenic. You're hearing voices. Maibata manje. Can you catch that one? Can you catch that one? So I am commanding you, Bushiri, Magaya, Lukai. Come to me. I'll take you to a psychiatrist. And I'll take you to a forensic psychiatrist. Trust me, you will come out with mental problems. Do you see what I'm saying now? Because it's an illusion, or it's either you know what you're doing and you're just stealing from people. Okay? So I'm not saying to people, don't respect Jesus, but you need to dig deeper to understand where Jesus is coming from, where the Bible is coming from, and what is Bible in your own language. Okay? And you prophets, there is a complaint which has come. You like rice and chicken too much. The audience, the congregation have said that these prophets, when they come to your house, all they want is just rice and chicken. That's why you get big like that and you forget that the body you carry was made in the image of God. You need to stop wanting rice and chicken, you prophets. Yeah? You need to make sure that rice and chicken goes to a street child. So you see these prophets, yeah, the truth is that they do have that gift, but this gift, you can even use it for evil purposes or for good purposes. You see what I'm saying? But we leave all to the judgment of God. Okay? So if you look at Africa, it's the only continent with no religion or with no God. Because if you see, Indians have their own God. White people have their own God. That's Jesus, right? And where's ours? Because we threw things we don't want to accept. So I think President Mugabe, ex-President Mugabe, just to respect, should also come out and just really tell us what he thinks who this Jesus is. Because we are now being told this Jesus is the sun that shines on the world. Lights up the world. Can you see that now? Now we are being told that the wine which Jesus changed was purely water raining from the clouds of the sun straight to the grapes, and it changes into wine. You see now. And these white people, to be quite honest, they really don't care what's happening about it. They've forgotten about it already. You know, they used it for that part and they've forgotten it for that part. Okay? So we are just carrying on with other people's beliefs. Oh yes, Hirida, these prophets, they like rice and chicken. That's what I heard. So Christianity is basically based on astrology, but then there are also some astrophysics now who've actually said that we live in a 4-dimension. So there are other 6 dimensions, there are other 4 dimensions which support us in this dimension, but there is also other 6 dimensions which I think you can't go in them, and this is astrophysics. So science is actually telling you that there could be a heaven, because those 6 dimensions now, we don't know what's happening there. Maybe it's the angels, and where God sits, you know what I mean? So because those dimensions, they're not supporting us, but we also have other dimensions which are supporting us. So it's as if scientists are also proving that there could be a heaven somewhere. So we shouldn't rule that one out. I believe there is life after death in different levels. Okay, yeah, that 6th dimension, try to pick it up a bit. But now if you also hear as Africans that we should pray to Jesus, don't you think maybe that's where we are having problems of poverty, because we are not praying direct to him? Because maybe for real God hears your prayers, but then the person who invented this Bible blocked you from going straight to God. So sometimes you need to learn to pray direct to God instead of going through somebody else. Yeah, that's Jesus. Like I said, we should really respect Jesus because he was a prophet. And you hear Muslims, I agree now with Muslims when they say Jesus was only a prophet. Okay, because you need to also understand, for those who are watching, I know the pastors and the prophets, you've got your teeth out for me. You need to understand that it's been written in the Bible several times that God himself said there will be no other. Okay, so why is there this one? So we need to just celebrate him but not worship him, because that's a kind of idol worshiping. Okay, what I tell you and what you're gonna believe is up to you. I'm just passing the message. Don't shoot the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger. So you see now, when the Bible came to Africa now, it was to kind of term the black man, because the black man was too strong and the wife is too strong. Look at his children, us, and we've only been free for less than maybe 20 years. That's basing it in South Africa. Look at how strong we are. So we needed something to term us down. So how can you capture something you have not termed? So that Bible was invented for that, to term strong black people, so that when they do the transition from Africa to Europe, there's not too much fight, because you've got God by your side. Okay, so that's the same thing we're still praying to. So this thing of Jesus turned water into wine, I heard it's Joshua chapter 10 and verse 12 to 14. So you go and find out where Jesus turned water into wine. But that Jesus was the sun which shines upon the land. Okay, so you see now, when they use this Bible to come and take minerals, yeah, Africa, you need to understand that the minerals you've got, there will be no other minerals coming. Okay, unless the world ends, if you learn on the astrology and the zodiacs, how it moves. Okay, Saka, for Africa, all the minerals you are taking out of Africa can never be replaced. Okay, so this is the reason why in one of the lives said, how can somebody come from England or America and go to Africa if there was nothing to offer? We've got things like, if you watched that Black Panther, I only watched it yesterday because I'm not fast with rushing to give my money to watch something which barely changes anything. You can hear them talking about the vibranium. You see, that vibranium is the one now fixing all this technology you are seeing. And so Africa, those are your last minerals, okay? Until the world reshuffles again. Maybe if the world reshuffles, it can start again with time. So those resources you have, that's the last you have. There will be no other gold again. The gold you have taken, that's it. The diamonds and other minerals which you are taking from Africa, that is the last. So I can make use of it. So Christianity is a Egyptian mythology, yeah, which the stories are aligned, yeah, to nature, yeah. So it's a mythology which is aligned to nature, because they did that to explain how the sun moves by using characters. Okay, so they use the character of Jesus, who is the sun, S-U-N, God. Okay, and he's got 12 disciples, yeah. So these 12 disciples, now if you look at astrology, you will see that you've got 12 zodiac signs. Okay, so the sun, have you seen the zodiac signs? There's the sun in the middle. So the zodiac turn round the sun, or the sun turns round the zodiac. So that is the era. So if you go to the zodiac, you then realize which era we are in. And you can even calculate when the world is going to end. The next era will be going to, I think right now we're in Pisces or Aquarius, something like that. So you see now, it's quite deep, but I've just managed to go gaga. So the 12 disciples equals the 12 zodiac signs, yeah? Son of God equals S-U-N. So the sun now was called Horu. And we've got the moon, which was called Sith. So the moon represents darkness and the sun represents light. So they did fight before Christ. You know, these are the stories you hear in the Bible, which were created by the Egyptian mythologist, to say they fought and they settled for the sun, who is Horus, to come during the day, and at night it's the moon, who is Seth. Okay, so now you can see, I think I'm going there now. Yeah, so even the cross, you see, yeah, let's talk about the halo of Jesus. If you look at the sun, it's round. If you look at all the Christian signs, it's got Jesus with the sun at the back, right? That's the halo which was crucified on the cross. Okay, so like I said, the Jesus, they took S-U-N into the sun to put it in a human, but it's really the sun. So as the sun bends, you can see there's a round halo. So the thorns, which they tell you that Jesus was going on a cross with the thorns, those are the rays. They are not thorns, it's the rays of the sun. So if you look at the sun, there's some pictures I posted on my profile, you see where it's written, the sun is coming. That means when the sun comes, the truth is that it's going to burn you. Okay? The S-U-N is the one with the halo and the thorns. They are not thorns. They are rays of the sun. Okay, so they tried by all means to characterize the sun into this, and we've talked about the sun traveling. Jesus, the Son of God, rises with the halo of thorns and the rays from the sun. You see, so astrophysics has also proved that there is heaven. But us as Africans, we are starting to open our eyes, because there's so many things happening, okay? In Zimbabwe, we're tested with accidents, with fire. And I did say to somebody who is here, who I will not mention with their name, that God is very upset, is very, very upset, and is very, very upset with especially Africans, okay? Because you are really, really misusing his name, okay? You are really, really misusing his name. You have gone a bit too far. So it's time you repent before it's too late. Okay? I love you guys, and I just thought I'll share this with you. Prophet Bushiri, if you are watching, please repent. Tell people the truth about Jesus and the black people. Tell people the truth. Mr. Magaya, Prophet Magaya, if you are watching and listening, I respect you as my Zimbabwean brother. And the other one, Mukandiwa, and the other one, Hubert Angel. I respect you so much as my brothers. You show that you've got the gift. But we do understand the prophets are tempted to sin. Even sexuality, we are highly sexual. So we need to control that. So some people can even be top habitual thieves, just a temptation. That just comes with the territory of prophetism. Yeah? Because our senses are very high. Okay? I'm speaking, representing prophets, yeah? Our senses as prophets are very, very high. Before you know it, you're sleeping with your best friend's wife. You understand? Exactly. Yeah? So we need to open up, Mr. Magaya. You guys, your churches, you're now behaving like a Nigerian character, to which I really don't understand where you're coming from. Sit down, brother. Do some researches. Understand the body anatomy. And I'm going to open my own church called the Body Church. Okay? So I'll open it online tomorrow. It will be called the Body Church. That means BC. Okay? Or Body Church. I'm on it. Yeah? If we open a Body Church, I can start telling you how God created your nose, you know, your bones, your muscles. You see what I'm trying to say now? We can start training to trigger those dopamines and endomorphins which come in our brains, and God gave us that already. And as prophets and the government, we need to start looking. I'm talking about the Zimbabwean government. We need to really start looking the depth of these problems. I'm also talking to celebrities who look for solutions but find none. Look into yourselves. Look deeper. It's not really to say the government has done that, the government has done that. It's because you fear. You fear the truth. Fear comes from the devil. And why should we fear? Okay? We shouldn't fear. We should open up and say, you know what, guys? Those who want to follow Jesus, let them do. But let us tell them the truth, that who this Jesus is. If I say Jesus is white, some people say, no, he's not, he's this and that. Trying to just find an argument, okay? Yeah? So we need to really start respecting God accordingly. I have come here to speak for God. I have not come here to give you information so that I can look intelligent, okay? I've just come here to fight for God and to fight God's corner, that please, prophets, you are now abusing God, okay? And the astrophysics really says there is something like heaven. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a dichotomy the way we think of it, or something which is mystery, okay? There is still some heaven, something like that, okay? It's how you believe it. But it's very important as Africans that we start believing in what we see, not an illusion. that we want to build. Okay? We must start looking at what you see. Can you see God? Yes, I can see God. You are God. I am God because I was made by God. Of course, we've got scientists who are making clones and this and that. But the technology is coming from imitating God. You see, when I look outside, the trees that shade in winter and become leafy in summer, spring, that is the God I can see. It's very, very important that you start believing what you see. God makes me breathe. Not Prophet Lukau. I didn't see Jesus doing that. So Jesus, we must respect him, but he must retire, especially in Zimbabwe. Okay? I will sweep my own home before I sweep the neighbor's home. I love you guys, Zimbabwean. This is Mrs. Annoying, Boeing 777. I had to share with you. Love you guys, and bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, guys. Love you. Love you guys. Bye.